Welcome to our Facebook Live and our podcast. I'm Clifton French with Real News Michiana, here with Tim Corbett with Corbett Investigations and his podcast, Killer Catchers. We're going to put all of this stuff on all of their media as well when we're done with this. But right now, here just to talk to Tim about the South Bend Police Department leaving the Metro Homicide Unit and the Special Victims Unit.
It's not only South Bend Police Department, both units are entirely shutting down, so Michiana County are going to be out of it also. And I'm sure, I can't speak for them, but I wouldn't think they'd be too happy about it. This is probably one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen in my over 4 decades of police work. That unit was developed back in 1993 by Mike Barnes. It was the prototype for homicide units throughout the United States. We've been featured nationally as well as internationally for the work that we've done. Featured on Paul Lazan cold case 3 times. Nobody gets on Paul Lazan 3 times. We did because of the great work that the officers over there and the street officers did. And to dismantle that for the reason that's being given of short manpower does not make sense. I don't know how South Bend's going to be able to handle it. Writing techs are not going to be able to tech a scene. Not that they're not capable, but they're not just going to have the time to be able to do it. You know, the other major component to this is cold cases. Mm-hmm. There's going to be no more cold case units. So your uncle that got killed 10 years ago, my grandma that got killed 20 years ago, that's going to be in a file box back in that corner, and nothing's going to be done with it. You'll get the usual, no, that case isn't closed. Well, yeah, okay, it's not closed because there's no ending to it, but for all practical purposes, nobody's going to be looking at it short of somebody walking in and saying, I killed Clifton French's uncle 10 years ago, and here's how I did it. So this is a huge, huge disservice to the community. And the ones that are going to suffer, quite honestly, the most are going to be African Americans. Mm-hmm.
So I've worked, as a journalist all across, in several places across the country. I know the Elkhart County Prosecutor's Office, they modeled everything, just recently, the past few years, modeled everything on the St. Joseph County model, right, with their homicide unit that they brought into the prosecutor's office under Vicki Becker. I know that in places where I worked in Florida, they talked about the St. Joseph County Homicide Unit and how successful they were and how they tried to model what they were doing around it. This is something that's been extremely successful. I mean, you were at one point when you were commander and had this at something like 92% solvents rate.
Yeah, and it isn't me, it's the unit, it's the people on the street. And I think these politicians do such a disservice to policemen. You know, you hear about all this defunding and all that kind of stuff. Well, stop and think about it. South Bend is now down to about, I think, 219 police officers. I don't know the exact number, but I think that's pretty accurate. Now, if I take money away from you, that's defunding. But if I don't have to take money away from you, but I set so many barriers in front of you to be able to do your job correctly, and you quit, in essence, you're defunding police officers, right? They're quitting. They're saying, I'm having enough of this. I have to put up with the BS out on the street. Now I have to come back, and I have supervisors all over me for all sorts of different things, and people get 20 years in 1 second, and they're parachuting out of here. Mm-hmm. They're leaving. So you got to look internally at what is not being done to help keep those officers. Michiana doesn't seem to have a problem keeping officers. Even the county doesn't seem to have problems, but South Bend does. And
that's an important distinction to make. Michiana is not hurting for officers right now. I don't know the numbers, but I don't believe St. Joseph County is hurting for numbers. The only department in the county that's hurting for numbers right now that I'm aware of is the South Bend Police Department.
Well, then I guess you have to go into the bathroom, and there's that big square thing, and you look into it, and it throws a reflection back, and maybe you ought to go, maybe it's me. Mm-hmm. You know, these politicians, they want to keep, blowing sunshine up your pant leg. It's not as bad as you think. It's not this. It's not that. Look, the quality of the work that we did, that officers did in that unit to solve homicide cases. I mean, that's the most egregious crime, that can be accomplished by a criminal. To have the success rate that we did, that is going to diminish. And I can tell you one reason right now. If you look on the internet, there's a guy by the name of Vernado
Yeah.
Malone that has
Oh,
made
he's celebrating.
well,
You have criminals celebrating the dissolution of these units.
what does that tell you about how stupid of a decision is? We got criminals saying this is a great decision. If I'm a criminal, I don't want great people doing
Yep.
these things because there's a chance I could go to jail. I want somebody that hasn't been trained, doesn't have the time to be able to do it. It's not that other people can't do it, but street officers, as a writing tech or whatever, you are not going to have the time to be able to tech that scene. There's times we're out 3, 4, 5 days holding the scene. It's going to be very, very tough. So when you have a criminal going, yeah, this is a great idea, just like when this thing, first happened, everybody gets a seat at the table. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I
Yep.
want to bring a criminal in to have him say, we don't want the police to be able to punch us. We don't want them to be able to take a defensive stance. We don't want them to yell at us. We don't want, because that's advantageous to me. Hell, if I was now you have a citizens review board, you got people that are going to be sitting on a board that know zero about police work, but yet they're going to make a judgment on the tactics that we do like that. When a doctor does something, they don't call Tim Corbett and 5 other lay people, sit on a board and go, we'd like to explain to you about the operation we did on the cranial vault of Joe Smith, who passed away. What's your opinion of it? Hell, I don't know. It's so stupid. It's placating by politics or by politicians that just give in because somebody's yelling and screaming and griping and all, and they just give in because they're cowards. They need to stand up and go, we're going to back our police officers. If they screw up, they're going to have a problem, but we're going to go out and protect people. I get calls from ladies all the time, black ladies from the west side of town, that they have to, when their grandkids come over, they have to put them in a bathtub to sleep for fear of rounds coming through their walls. That's ridiculous. It's unconscionable. And when I hear that stuff, when I see that stuff, when I hear the lies being told, it makes me want to puke.
Yeah.
And people don't bust them out on it; they just take it. I don't want to be called a xenophobe or a homophobe or a racist or a You're just pointing out the facts. You're being lied to. You're being lied to, and you need to dig into it.
So, what do you see in the near term? What's going to happen to this city now that they've gotten rid of these units? I mean, obviously, you got the statements from the prosecutor's office, you got the statements from the police department saying, "Hey, listen, everything's fine and dandy. We're gonna handle this." From the mayor, from the city police department. What do you see in the near and the long term since this just happened?
Well, you quoted me the other day. Shootings and homicides are going to be spiraling up, and solvability rate and solves are going to go down the toilet. Okay.
And if you're not getting these people who are committing these crimes off the street, they're committing more crimes.
How hard is it? Look, it's very simple. If you're a shooter, you're out shooting people, right? If you get arrested and you're in the county jail, you can't shoot people. You can't intimidate people. This group violence initiative or whatever it's called, intervention, I guess. If your gang drops, of course they don't call them gangs, they call them groups because
yeah.
that makes them feel better. You're not homeless. You're an urban camper. Yeah. You need to put the shooters away. It's just that simple. You're not going to hug this out of them. They wake up every day wanting to do crimes. They continue to do crimes. They're in gangs for a reason, whatever it may be. And if you don't put them away, they're going to kill you. They're going to kill your kids. That's just the way it's going to be. South Bend is going to be little Chicago. Mark my words. Watch. You can already see 133 shootings last year. But for somebody being a terrible shot and somebody being a great doctor, that could have been 80 or 90 homicides. People have to stop BSing themselves and look and see what's really going on. Hold these politicians' feet to the fire.
I mean, we saw, like you said, 133 shootings last year, and they still had these units, right? I know that they were hemorrhaging personnel at the same time. South Bend PD was I mean, I think they're down to something around 215 officers. There are a lot less detectives than they had before, and the crime rate skyrocketed then. You would think that having all of your detectives, having all of your good personnel from Mishawaka, from from the sheriff's office and from South Bend all together working on those most egregious crimes. I mean, because we're talking sex crimes and stuff too here with the SVU. So, but having all these people together, with being able to share all of that information and to be in that same place and to essentially just be working together the whole time, that's a benefit to the community and to law enforcement.
Well, South Bend always led the league in murders,
Yeah.
always. But yet Mishawaka County police officers help work on those cases. It's to South Bend's advantage to stay in that unit. Special victims unit, they always had the most cases. I don't know the exact number, but I know when Brent Hammerline was over there was like 3,600 cases a year of
Yeah.
domestic violence, of molestings, of rapes, of all that kind of stuff. South Bend had the major number in that. You're getting people. You may have to divide some of your units up. I don't know. I'm not telling Scott Ruskowski what to do because nobody can tell him what to do. He can do what he wants. But this, I'm saying for Tim Corbett, what I've seen, this is a major mistake. It's going to cost lives. It's going to cost a lot of African American lives. You heard it here. I said it. That's what's going to happen. You can't let this stuff go unchecked. When was the last time you seen a roundup of a bunch of gangbangers or a bunch of whatever? You don't see it.
No, we're just throwing them money right now with the Alive grant. Thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of that. And I guess, we expected them to pick up the slack for the homicide. You expect Fernando Malone, who claims he's a detective, with Justice for Michiana, to go out there and solve these homicides and take his autopsy photos at the local funeral home and share them around with his buddies.
Well, that's different. That's
it's sick.
You shouldn't talk about that. You're going to hurt somebody's feelings
Yeah.
telling the truth.
Yeah.
Unless it's your grandma that's laying naked and he's taking pictures, then that's a little different.
I don't understand what the plan is. I hate to hearken this to what's going on in Afghanistan right now, but it seems like there's absolutely no plan, and they're just willy-nilly pulling out of something that has worked for nearly 3 decades.
Here's the plan. You got a bunch of people with 1-gallon heads with 10-gallon hats. That's what your problem is.
Yeah. Do you see this changing by January 1? Because January 1's when kind of that cutoff date, right? Hey, we're out of here. Do you see this changing by January 1 at all, or do you think that this is set in stone? This is the way they're going.
Unless somebody goes to bed and wakes up with common sense, I think it's the way it's going to go. And the thing that people aren't thinking about, because you don't know, but we have an area, or not we, they have an area. Probably, and you can't see how big this is, but a very, very huge area in a basement that is stacked floor to ceiling with cases. Each person that was killed that has evidence, it's in a banker's box, or 2 boxes, or 3 boxes, or whatever. There's sets of double doors. There's kitchen tables. There's bikes. There is so much evidence down there. It's unbelievable.
You're talking at Metro.
I'm talking at Metro. Now, South Bend has to show up and have people ready to take these boxes, open them up, go through each piece of evidence on a property sheet and go watch, shoes, earrings, whatever, and sign off on it. That box can now go out there. And now they are responsible for that. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of boxes down there. So each department is going to have to do that so that chain of custody is maintained. So this isn't like you're just going to drive down there with your forklift and, hey, pick all this crap up and get it down there. Then the second thing is, where are you going to store it? How are you going to secure it? Not my problem, your problem. But this has not been thought out very well.
Well, I mean, you can think about what's just think about, the cases at homicide. Now think about the cases that are at SVU. You're talking thousands of cases a year at SVU, where that same thing, I'm assuming, is going to have to happen there.
Well, how many rape kits do you have? How many kits do you have that were part of a molestation? There is a lot of moving parts in this. But, I guess one of the key things that I said earlier is we have convicted felons that are happy that County Metro Homicide is being shut down. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
That says it all right there. That says it all right there. The bad guys are going, yep, now we're not going to have those guys coming after us.
So, you and I had discussed this earlier, and I quoted you in my story I wrote, that you believe that this started with the previous administration, with the previous mayor.
Oh, absolutely. I think Pete Buttigieg was the orchestrator of a lot of these things. When you're telling, common sense is going to dictate. You are not going to bring criminals into your inner circle and have them give you advice. What advice are they going to give you? We don't want the cops hitting us, all this other, mamby-pamby, let's hug each other stuff. They don't want anything that's going to go against them. Hell, if I was a criminal, I would want cops defunded. I wouldn't want them to be able to hit me. I wouldn't want them to be able to shoot at me. You can't chase me. Don't take an aggressive stance. An aggressive stance. Actually, that's being said, an aggressive stance. So I think you're going to attack me. If I take an aggressive stance, drop my back foot back and be prepared to fight, that's an aggressive stance. That's going to hurt your feelings. You, the criminal that just shot somebody. I don't give a shit about your feelings, period. You just tried to kill somebody. These people need to stop licking boots and washing feet and cutting toenails and kissing butts and go back to good, solid police. Let policemen be policemen. I'm not saying be abusive or liars or planting evidence. No good cop wants anybody like that. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. But the good cops that are out there now that want to do their job and are not allowed to do their job, hell, they don't want you to be a cop anymore. They want you to be a freaking butler. They want you to be an Uber driver. Your job is to protect people. And protecting people means sometimes people have to go to jail. And they put themselves in that position. Cops don't go down the street and throw somebody through a window and go, hey, I need a Eskimo burglar, or I need a cross-eyed this to be a robber. Yet you don't get to pick your victims. You don't get to pick your suspects. You put yourself in that circumstance, and it's our job to protect you. It's their job to protect. Let them do their job and stop second guessing.
I have pictures of, and I wrote a story about this too, but I have pictures of Mayor Pete sitting down with one of the leaders of the local Latin Kings when he was here. I mean, this has been going on for years. They've been they have taken actual known gang members. I mean, and his administration knew all. I mean, I talked to the administration. They knew that this guy was an active gang member. By the way, part of a gang that makes most of their money off of narcotics and human trafficking. Right? They're grooming young girls into prostitution, and he's inviting people who are actively doing these kinds of crimes to the table to dictate how police should be doing their job.
Well, it's a great plan. It's a great plan if you want votes.
Mm-hmm. But I mean that leads also into into why would anybody want to be a police officer with the South Bend Police Department if that's what's going on within the administration, within the executive branch that controls the police department? Why would you want to be a police officer if you are going to be complicit, obviously, in that kind of behavior?
Why do you think they're down to 215 or 219? When I was on, we had 262, I think. Maybe even a little bit more.
I think, they want to have something like 280, 285, right? Is that?
Right now, there's like 62. I was given the number 62 people by the end of the year could go by. What are you going to do then?
62 officers who could leave by the end of the year. What? Because of retirements?
Yeah, they got their time on. I'm done. I'm done putting up with the crap. I'm done listening to this stupid stuff. I'm done being told I can't do this or can't do that. I understand you have to have discipline. I get that. I was a captain. I got all that. But you also don't have to treat people like they're 3 years old. You can sit them down and go, what were you thinking? Mm-hmm. You can't do that. And do it. Some of the old-fashioned ways really do work. You treat a man like a man and a woman like a woman. You talk to people the way they need to be talked to. You can't curse. Are you kidding me?
I've always said, I've always said that everybody deserves a good boot in the ass every once in a while.
Well, look, you don't abuse people, you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal, you don't do anything illegal. You are supposed to be the elite. That badge, when you take that oath, you're swearing to the badge and you're swearing to the people. You're not swearing to some politician that is going to sell everybody and anything to get a vote. You take care of the people, you do it the right way, and know on your best day, You're going to piss 50% off and you're going to make 50% happy. So you just do the right thing. That's all these officers want to do. They want to be cops. They want to do their jobs. But, you know, you not only have to worry about being killed, now you got to worry about,
Yep.
you know, you didn't do this right. You didn't do that right. In the duty manual, in this real small print behind something, you know, I can write you up for that. I'm going to have to discipline it. Yeah, you know, and people finally get an ass full of it and they just go, this is stupid. Why would I do this? I just talked to somebody the other day. $18 an hour to be a dishwasher. $18 an hour. Biggest decision is, do the glasses go in with the dishes?
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Nothing to worry about. You're not sweating anything.
Well, I mean, and I think you also have to look at the pay. So once again, this is just from what I've been hearing, right? Is that South Bend PD, good pay, good benefits package. The reason for anybody leaving South Bend PD doesn't have to do with the pay. People are actually taking pay cuts to go to other departments.
What does that tell you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the answers are real clear. But since I don't have a Rhodes Scholar and I don't have a PhD, because I got a PhD in street because I survived it, I don't have a master's degree, but I got what a lot of these people don't have. It's common sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's common sense. While the brainiacs are somebody throws a brick and they're gauging timer trajectory, impact, crushing ability, I go get head out of the way of brick and survive it. They need to talk to some old school cops, some cops that have been there and done it and know how to lead, not supervise, lead. Come on with me. I'll be the first one through the door. Come on with me. Here's what we're going to do. We got to go after this guy, and it's not you, and you go. I'm going with you.
Mm-hmm.
They need to respect that, and there is zero respect.
How do you change the trajectory of where this city is heading right now?
Stop placating, stop caving in to everybody that comes down there and complains and has a cause and wants to yell and scream, and you know, I don't want to hear all that. Show me the proof. Show me the proof of something you've been abused. Show me a proof of something, not just you think, maybe, could, mights, and maybes. That's one way. It's like the Taliban. They got Biden backed up. They know they can do anything they want with him. These guys out on the street, they got this administration backed up. All I got to do is go down there and cry about something, and they're gonna do something to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. You need to enforce the law. The administration, the cops need to be able to be cops. Somebody needs to walk into those roll calls and say, "Look, we're going to do it right. We're going to do it fair. We're going to do it equal across the board. We're not going to arrest somebody because of these factors, and we're not going to not arrest somebody because of these factors. If it's a criminal offense that a crime has been, is being, or is about to be committed, and you have legal lawful arrest officers, you're going to make that arrest.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what the prosecutor does. I don't control the prosecutor's office.
Well, that's a whole nother.
Don't worry about what the mayor does. You do your job, and that's what we're paid to do, and that's what we're going to do, and I will back you. Now, having said that, you abuse somebody, you lie in a report, you do something illegal or improper, we're going to Memorial Hospital, pull my boot out of your ass, because I'm going to do it to you.
Yeah.
Okay? You put yourself in that position to make me, the administration, have to react and penalize you. That's your fault, not mine. But every little thing does not need a write-up and a speech, and it does not. You can, and you know, I know some of these people that on the police department now that are doing those things, and I remember things that went on way back in the day that, you know, right now they wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
You don't go into a scene and take evidence.
Yeah.
But one guy did. Know who you are, found out about it, but shh, we don't want to talk about those dirty little secrets, do we? That's the stuff that makes me sick.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like me and I don't like him, so.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about there.
No, I
but
know.
I'm not.
I know. I'm being very veiled, but he knows, and he'll be watching this.
Yeah. So what do you think is the next step? I mean, like, I'm trying to put, like, are there solutions?
Sweeping change. I would go in with a broom and sweep out.
Yeah.
What's your job? What do you do? Well, yeah, just what we need. Another tree hugging, whale saving Earth muffin. Get a box, get your shit, get out of here. We're gonna put somebody in here. We're gonna make a change.
Do you think? I mean, I mean,
going after these gangbangers.
if you lose 62 more police officers, right, and have a very narrow pipeline of new officers coming in, how do you recover from that? How can you recover from that?
Well, I think with 62 new officers, once you get them trained, or 20 officers or 25, they can go out and be more like the report takers, the everyday, beat people. But there are people on that department that are very, very intelligent, extremely intelligent, and have common sense. And they can see the problem. And you get the feds involved. You know who the gangbangers are. You know who the shooters are. You know who the druggies are. Go after them. Make a case.
Do you think that South Bend at some point is going to have to get a partnership with another partnership with an outside agency, with the sheriff's office, with the state police, with the feds or something at some point? I mean, because it seems to me that there is a I don't know how you recover from a lack of that many. If that many officers, if you lose dozens of more officers, I don't know how you can recover without any sort of outside assistance.
You probably can't. And, you can't declare martial law. If you listen to some of these progressives that talk about, we don't need the police department. Yeah, you do. Wait until you're getting your ass kicked in your garage and getting raped, and you're waiting to call the next thug available on 9/11 to come to your house. 3 years later, somebody shows up. That is one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard. Defund the police, disarm the police, don't give them equipment, because we can go out. And I've even heard about, they're talking about maybe sending people out on family fights, these young ladies.
Sending out social workers, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you and I both know that the most probably the most dangerous call you can respond to, one of the most volatile and dangerous calls, is a domestic call.
Policemen are killed at the most at car stops and domestic violence. Now, I'm a man and I'm beating my wife or girlfriend because she didn't make the spaghetti right or whatever, because that's just what I do. I'm an abusive guy. And instead of an armed policeman coming out who can defend himself, you're going to send Debbie out there. And Debbie's going to show up. And of course, I already hate women, because that's why I'm beating her. So Debbie's going to show up and tell me, you can't do that. We need to talk about this. We need to sit down and have a cappuccino and discuss world events so you feel better about yourself. Yeah, that's going to work real well. So now I have two hostages. Now I got a woman trying to tell me what to do, and I already can't stand women because I'm beating them, right? I'm a coward. That's what I do. And we're going to send that. That's the idea, that we're going to be able to hug a thug and get this done. You got to be stupid to even think that would begin to work. Maybe after the fact, after everything's calmed down and we get Clifton disarmed and maybe handcuffed and fix the cut above her eye and get her help because of the abuse and maybe a place to live, maybe later on in a confined, orderly, safe area where Debbie will be fine, not at a volatile scene. I don't know where these people come from that come up with these ideas, but I would love to take them out in an alley some night with us when we're chasing somebody down that alley with a gun, and you can go, oh, I know you had such a rough life. Your mommy didn't give you enough cereal. You need more hugs. Kaboom. New hole right in the forehead. Tell me how that worked out, Mark. It's not going to work. These people have no idea other than what they've had pounded in their heads in books that don't work in practical application. These progressives are nuts. I would love to have them come out as policemen and see how it works when a guy goes, I ain't going to jail. You ain't taking me. Well, we need to have a debate about this. I'm going to text you a message and I'm going to forward an email to you, and you better do it. Or what? Well, I don't know. You're going to get another email and maybe a trophy. Stupid.
Well, I've had conversations with other people in law enforcement about what's even currently being done with the domestic violence situation in the county. That's not pretty. On top of that, so to me it seems like there is a spiral that just is continuing. The momentum is just going, and there's no real stopping it. It's terrifying, really.
Well, it's frustrating because there are answers out there, but I'm not in that realm. There's people out there right now, a lot of people that feel the same way I do. People that are in powerful positions, but they can't speak the way I speak. I don't care. They're in positions that they have to be voted in, they have to be liked, they have to, appease to their political party and all that. I don't care about any of that. I care that you don't get killed. I care that your kid doesn't get killed. I care that your daughters don't get raped. And if it means that I got to come on here and say things that maybe are going to make some people uncomfortable and not like me, I don't care. I really don't care. I have an obligation to say it. Other people won't say it for lack of lower extremities or whatever. I don't know. Worried about their jobs, worried about the vote. Don't care. It needs to be said. People need to stand up. They need to stop sitting at home in their easy chair and saying, "Oh, I heard that Tim Corbett talk on that thing today, and boy, those were pretty strong words. And yeah, boy, I don't think I'd have said it." No, but you'll reap the benefits of actions that could save your life and your family's life. Step up, be a man, step up, be a woman, push back, demand answers. Stop letting them lie to you. Stop letting them blow sunshine up your pant leg. I'm telling you, you got 1-gallon heads with 10-gallon hats on them. They don't know everything. You're a powerful group of individuals, but if you let these gangbangers and you let the shooters and all the rest of these idiots run the streets, people are going to die. And it's just not going to be gangbangers shooting gangbangers. They're not all that great a shot. They'll miss and they'll hit you. And when you're laying in the middle of the street with a sucking chest wound, you're going to wish that you pushed more. Stop sitting at home. Get involved. Contact me. I'll help you. If you have a crime that hasn't been adjudicated, you need help, you have questions, call me. I'll help you. This isn't a commercial for me. I'm telling you to call me. I'm not saying I'm charging you. I'm saying call me, and I'll give you some answers. But stop being lied to. Stand up and fight back.
Yeah. Well, if there's anything else you got, I think we touched on most of everything.
Well, everybody's probably calling Dr. Phil right now after hearing all this. But it's the truth, and I'm sorry it's harsh, and I'm sorry my language isn't always what it should be, but it's coming from the heart. It's coming from over 4 decades of experience. I've been out there. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm talking on behalf of the good policemen that want to do the job, that enjoy protecting you, enjoy doing what they do, but they're not allowed to. They are not Uber drivers. They are not butlers. They are policemen and women. And this decision to bust these units up, they're stupid for doing it. Okay, that's as easy as I can put it. It's a stupid decision.
Well, we got until January 1 to put the pressure on. I don't know. January 1, and then 2023 is the next mayoral election. I think that we all have a good.
Look, when politics and egos are involved, you can say all the, we want to be transparent. We want to work with the community. What you want to do is cave in and get the votes. Be a man, stand up at that podium, and let your police department be a police department. If you got the courage, do it. If you don't, mayor and anybody else, sit down and let somebody else step in that will.
All right. Tim, I appreciate it.